pretty big parking lot out there. We do have the equipment now to do so. I looked at doing a slurry, which is an oil you just spread there once you do it. But the slurry is actually kind of messy. It doesn't stay as long. You don't have as long as warranty with either one of these kind of things. And we don't have any equipment to do the slurry type of approach.
So if we got basically at the end of your 220,000 in reserves on the hot tax.
Yes.
And if we take it out of this year, we're going to be losing Peanut Festival, Chamber, or are we going to be losing, you only got 400 and some thousand, we used close to 200 on paying bills. What are we going to take it from the hot tax? We're going to get rid of the jobs here?
That would be a council decision to do. I do want to remind council that we do use hotel motel tax to offset some of the costs for the staff that's here. Right about 50 to 60% of the cost of staff for this building comes out of the hotel motel tax. As a reminder, historically, that fund has been building over the years because we didn't use it. It had been kind of dormant. We're using it now for proper activity, and we've had funded, I believe, 3 or 4 years, 3 years, we have funded the Peanut Festival to the tune of somewhere between $35,000 per year that they decided to do so. But it's a council decision. My directive was to find out the cost, and then I look forward to see if you all care to move any money to do it this year, next year, or however you want to set up your priorities.
Well, our hotel money coming in, the hot tax is only $150,000.
Our hotel motel tax has been affected. As you know, Eagle Floresville has gone down, and we had a lot of activity when the oil field was pumping. So our hot tax has been affected, not like our sales tax, but it has been affected and it has dwindled. And so we anticipate somewhere between $150,000 and $180,000 collection this year. What the directive of the staff to the staff from the council last year during budgetary was to budget what we take in. That's what your directive was. And so if your question is that will this exceed the budget, the answer is yes. It would exceed more than what we take in, but it is definitely at the discretion of the council.
So we can do 3 or 4 phases.
Yes, Councilman Hernandez.
Well, how about if we do it like in a 3-year phase or 2-year phase where we just pull out so much? Can we set that money aside just for that? Or
That again will be a council decision.
no, I'm just,
I agree.
how are you able to? That's what I'm asking.
Yes, I mean, because we have a budget number that you have a number to target for, that you can make it a capital and then set so much aside every year if you care to do so. In this current budget, it is not set up that way. You can make a budget amendment for this year if you like, or during our workshops, so we can set that up going forward. Any other questions regarding this issue?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 3C, our annexation workshop.
Yes, ma'am. I know Councilman Jones, you requested this in reference to that. We were talking about our annexation for the 2019. We're almost there now. 2019 for our annexation. We wanted to have a workshop because there was clearly we need to have discussion about which areas we wanted to have done. And so we set up a workshop, I believe it is January 17th. It should be in your new calendars at the city secretary prepared for you here at City Hall.
Here at the event.
I'm sorry,
at 6:30.
At 6:30. The consultant can't make it at 6. He can be here at 6:30. Our consultant, Chris, will be here.
It is not in the calendar. That one is.
Oh, the 17th. Is that a Wednesday?
Yes, it's Wednesday, next Wednesday at 6:30.
The 17th. That is the one that you all voted on and talked about or discussed and agreed on via consensus. That's what you wanted to have. But that's the only thing on the agenda for that night is to discuss. We'll go into detail. The city secretary will provide for you, I believe it's about 26 pages of the different nodes and different areas that we can locate, and then you can approve that.
And then I do have new, he gave me new maps.
A new overhaul comprehensive map. I think the ABCs didn't match up, Council.
What date?
The 17th?
I have new maps, so I'll get those.
Visitors and tourists is the only thing I have.
I'm sorry, she didn't put that in there.
I didn't put the
She
workshop.
put the standard meetings in there, but we want a standard, we had calendars for you.
Do you think,
Councilman,
we're gonna,
can you use the,
So do you think we could have some numbers of what it would cost, like to, whatever we're gonna annex in?
Yes,
You know,
I'm
and how are
going
we gonna be able to handle this? Are we gonna be able to handle it?
he gave those numbers at the last workshop, the last time he presented. We will duplicate those again for you, because I know you all get a lot of paper. I will duplicate that for you. You can probably have it by Tuesday after the holiday. We'll have it ready for you, along with a larger map, so that the N1 matches the N1 on the map that we had.
I'll have it Friday for them. I'll have them tomorrow.
Okay, but what I was asking the areas, for example, if you're gonna do 181, it's gonna cost this amount. We're gonna do 97, it's gonna cost this amount.
He had that in the detail.
You know,
Yes, sir.
so,
But we didn't have an opportunity to go area by area at that last meeting, because our meetings do last 4 or 5 hours long. So the purpose of this meeting is to go area by area, but he did have the details in there. We just didn't have a chance to delve down into that. So it's literally a book, I believe somewhere between 25 to 30 pages. Monica will do that, and we have an overall comprehensive map, because it broke it down into sections. And she just said she'd have it for everybody on Friday, so that you can look at it. And for example, we'll have extra copies at that meeting as well as display, so that interested parties will be there as well.
So next Wednesday, January the 17th, 6:30 here at the Event Center.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item 3D, implementing a senior citizen discount on residential refuge rates. Councilwoman Cantu.
Yeah, I wanted to see if Helen could, or you, figure out a discount for the senior citizens.
Yes, I had discussed with Helen, and please forgive me, she's ill today, so the flu's going around, she's not able to be here tonight. The discussion I had with Helen Martinez, who works for the USDA, is that if we're talking about, we cannot, because we are required, as the mayor said earlier, USDA requires an did a study on what our rates can be. But the refuge is something that's also attached to our water bill. The discussions that we had, and I believe I discussed it with you, Councilman, as well, is to think about giving a discount, a senior discount on the refuge portion of it to seniors. And that would come off their water bill, and that would give them some assistance. They would come up with some numbers, and that we can make them do that. I did crunch some numbers, and had a discussion, I believe, with Councilman Neeson, somewhere around 30% is a just rough number. And if you decide 65 and older, I won't qualify. Thank you. I don't sign up for ARP either, that's just my personal thing. But to do that, we can't go income, because that's information I do not want to delve into, approve or disapprove. Just that if you are a senior, 65 or older, and the account is in your name, then you should qualify for that, and we can request that. However, we just received back the 5% from the exclusiveness for our enterprise, for our franchise fee, and according to my numbers, it's about $35,000. It'll probably eat up that $35,000.
So we would not gain at all with the refuge fee on the dumpster. We basically stay the same, so we won't be,
Correct.
we have to do something to gain and come without hurting people.
Well, I mean, that's what I looked at when we were able to do so. Now, there's an administrative fee. We can charge anywhere between 15 to 20%, but we have not increased our administration fee because it affects the water rates, and we had an increase on sewer and an increase on water. So I did not recommend or bring to you to ask for your approval to increase our administrative fee that we can charge on top of refuge.
We
Okay?
want to keep it down. We don't want to keep charging people like crazy, but to give away $30,000, but the most we're going to do is $5 a can or something for 65 and over.
It works somewhere between $5 to $8 per.
Can.
Yes, per month, as you come on for a billing cycle. So if you multiply that times 12, it comes out to be savings overall. But yes,
so,
but it would depend on how many people would sign up. Some people may or may not sign up. It'd have to be, they have to sign up and prove that they were 65 and over per household.
so that would save $5 to $8
Yes, it
per
can.
month.
Yes, it can say. And it will come off your water bill. It's not a lowering the water rate. Please do not put in the paper that it's going to lower your water rate. The water rate is set, but it will affect your water bill because the refuge is actually assessed to your water bill. We cannot do commercial because is commercial, and they are at a higher rate than they are residential. So I'm just looking at residential is what I studied. I did not include anything reference to commercial.
Basically, what do we use our refuge money for, to go into general fund?
It supplements our general fund, and you'll see huge transfers of money. So it supplements our general fund. There was money in garbage. I just want to let you know, people make money in garbage, as do we. And so we collect the money for Republic. We give them a check, and then the difference we keep. And then at the end, we convert that and move it over to our general fund. We also have a reserve there. And so it's our money to decide to do with.
If we take money from the general fund, we only got, what, 200,000 in the insolvency account that we should have 90 days. We only got 20-day supply, so we should have $1 million in savings, and we got 200,000.
The goal is to have 90 days in reserves. I believe we have about 20 from our last audit. Audit numbers, that is increasing, but that would take, that's just money we would be able to use for that.
So it'd be taken away from general fund, we would not be able to put any more in that.
So that's money being added.
Yeah, but if we took this discount, I'm 65, I'll be happy, but if we take this discount, something's gonna have to take a little sacrifice, and the only thing that's gonna do that is the general fund. We've got to build that up to get a 90-day supply.
And if I can say that you have to remember that we budget for lots of things. Some things we pay for just in case some things happen, so it's not everything that we budget for that we use. I just want to say that it is a choice, and the councilman asked me to look into that. I just did an overview. We can review with the attorney as to how we can do that legally and set it all up, but that was the discussion I had with Helen.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Any other questions about this item? Okay, moving on to item 3E.
I do have a question. So am I to look at it any further into detail? Is that a yes, a general
Yes,
consensus?
we'll discuss it some.
Okay. I look forward when you want to put it back on the agenda. Okay.
Okay, moving on to item 3E, downtown revitalization incentives. Councilwoman Cantu.
That was also, Ms. Turner, something that I wanted, something for downtown, to give them a discount if they're coming in. How can we do?
Well, it's an incentive program that the city of Floresville doesn't really have right now. And so you can do different things, such as having an enterprise zone that, you know, everybody in this zone has a special tax break. It will affect your bottom line because it will affect your ad valorem taxes. You have to understand when you're giving people tax, like a tax rebate, there's some things that you have to be able to do to be able to incentivize, but it is an incentivized package. I would recommend that we look at legally what we can do, work with EDC because their main focus is to bring economic development into the city, that we can come up with an incentive program that we can offer to whoever's there. You do have to remember that it's kind of like, I've been here for 5 years and I've been paying these taxes and you didn't incentivize me, and then this new person over here comes in. But there's all kind of criteria you can decide to do, but I would recommend if you're going to do that, to have an incentivized package along with EDC, something that they can offer as well.
Is there a lot of empty buildings in town?
In our downtown area, there are quite a few vacant properties there. They are filling in. What type of business, depends on whatever, it's like hit or miss. But it may actually, we can work with EDC to talk about incentivizing, going out searching, and you can give them direction as to what type of businesses you would like them to search for.
And like in the city buy some of those buildings?
That is a city decision.
I've got a question. On the incentives you're talking about, is that only for new business coming into the city of Floresville or existing business?
No, like, I would think like the small businesses. I mean, I don't understand how a small business that's downtown is paying the same amount of,
We all
You
pay
know.
taxes.
as H-E-B or Walmart, because they make a lot more money over
It's
there.
assessed to the value of the property. It's I'm sorry.
Same price now.
It's the best, you know, the taxes are based on their appraised value. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. But if you have a special, if you designate the downtown area, the historical downtown area, to be at a different taxing rate, you could do that, but it's just not a matter of just waving a magic wand. There's some research and some things we have to do. I'm quite sure any attorney will tell you there's a lot of legal things we need to do, but that is one approach.
I would be interested in that.
cooperating with EDC as well as incentives as they go, because
Well,
EDC
we
has some
already
sign
have- We already
incentives.
have incentives, you know, like for new business coming in, if we help with the infrastructure, what, you know, like when HEB comes in or new business comes in, don't they usually help with something? With infrastructure?
That may predate me. So for example, when the corner store came in, there was no incentive I offered them at all.
I'm talking about downtown.
And that would be one of the things you would need to focus on if it's going to be just a certain area, so that other areas aren't qualified. So I can, I've looked at other communities that have incentive program. I can bring some of those things back to you all for discussion, just to look to see what we can do. I do have to warn you that it does open up Pandora's box.
It does.
So if we give them, FEDC has a sign incentive.
FEDC has a sign incentive, it's a 50/50, so if you put the sign up, and once you put the sign up, they'll reimburse you 50% not to exceed $7,500.
Do they have a front remodel incentive?
They don't have facade remodel, but the sign kind of did that, but EDC has another similar program, they would do some assistance.
We did something like that a few years back, right? Whenever
They still have, if you have so much, to do a remodel on the front of your building downtown, the FEDC would pay X amount of so much.
Up to $7,500.
It's,
The ones that I've been at the meetings, I do attend the EDC meetings, I know they did Caparelli's was one of the ones they did. They did the movie theater downtown, the ladies at the dry cleaners, they helped her with some signage as well. And so that is something that EDC has done and has budgeted somewhere between $40,000 to $50,000 this year in their budget to continue it.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 3F, Highway 97 City Park entrance closure.
Well, City Manager is happy to respond that in your package, you'll see an email from TxDOT, not very much. They were supposed to be on the agenda today. It was an item for CNA in our draft, but they did contact us to say they are no longer requesting to close the park entrance. As you see, and we all had to go through that construction, they're moving quite quickly. They're working at night. I don't know what they're seeing out there, but they are no longer requesting to request to close that entrance. They may say they may want to revisit it sometime. They are going to come back to us about giving like a wider entrance to the two
Are they gonna do
driveways.
that, you hear?
Yes, they're going to come back and be able to do that, but they are no longer requesting.
They said possibly, if they needed to, possibly they would come back and widen if needed to be. They had to look at it.
Oh,
And see.
we tell, you need to tell them that we need it.
Well, I told them we need it, but I think you all encourage them to look at it differently and not necessarily close up our park entrance, which really made me really happy. And we only got notice of that on Monday, so it's official, the emails in your package. As we were trying to confirm them for their attendance, they rescinded their request.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to new business, item 4A, consideration and action to adopt an ordinance amending animal control regulations for the city of Floresville, Texas, providing for amended provisions related to the time period for claim of animals, disposition of animals, and relinquishment of animals, providing for severability, providing for repealing section, and providing for an effective date. This has been worked on. Henrietta, do you have information that?
Well, I have a question. I know the attorney Cynthia Trevino put it together. This is based on that you made a donation to the animal shelter to be there. I know this is one of the things that is upsetting there because the current ordinance says that if we have the animal and it's not claimed within 3 days, it is euthanized within 3 days. We take ownership and reason. This ordinance does not have that in there. What it says actually is that our animal control officer will transfer it to the non-for-profit animal shelter, and then it becomes their property, and then they may do what they need or deem to do so. My concern is that they're not open and ready, and I'm not quite sure what their location, if they can, at this time, be able to accept whatever we have, and so that was my question to
So
maybe see you, Mayor.
Do you want us to table this, or?
I'll make a motion to table that, because we're not ready for that.
I didn't know if their operation, when they're going to be ready, or where their location is now, or how they were going to be able to accept these animals. Because the cats, according to our current act, that we don't house them. The cats are euthanized as we receive them. The dogs are a different issue, and we have also received anything from cats to chickens to goats, and since I've been here, we even got a couple of horses. So that was my question of how we would proceed. If you adopt that, what would the effective date be? And if that is the effective date is immediately, where I would take these animals, because I'm not quite sure.
We can go ahead and table into our next meeting when we have more information about this. But these revisions will be the process of putting the animal shelter agreement into place.
Yeah, so what it says is that once we have them for 3 days, that we transfer it over to the ownership of them, the animal shelter, and then they will adopt them out, do whatever they need to do. So we no longer are responsible. If someone comes on the 4th day, they say if we need to go see the animal shelter, they're not in control of the animal.
I will,
I make a motion to table.
I have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Cantu to table this item. Do I have a second?
A second.
Seconded, do I have any citizens' comments? If none, I will, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. 5-0, thank you. Moving on to item 4B, consideration action to appoint members to the Board of Adjustments to include any reappointment of current members, appointment to fill vacancies, and/or replace existing members.
Madam Mayor, I wanted to appoint the PNC, Planning and Zoning Committee, Philip Vipon.
Ms. Gloria, the first item is the Board of Adjustments.
Okay. I wanted to appoint John Pugh, and then Jim Longhart, Randy Pruitt, John F. Dickinson, and Roy Eifert.
Randy Pruitt,
I think he's a
Roy Hydra, and John Ed Dickerson. I missed one.
Roy, Ryder.
No, I heard Roy Hydra, John Ed Dickerson, Randy Pruitt, and John Pugh, and who was the other one? Jim Long. Okay.
I'll second.
Did you get all those names, Monica?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Cantu. I have a second by Councilman Jimenez. Any citizens' comments pertaining to these appointments? If none, I will, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, I'm Mayor Claudia Garza and the City Councilman. I didn't quite catch who your appointments were for, what board that was.
Zoning Board of Adjustments,
Sorry?
and that's a new one.
Oh, that's a new board, okay. Okay, so those are new members. And what's the process for that? How, you have to submit
An application. Yeah, we go through the applications.
and do each member, is there a time limit that they have, that they can serve on these boards, or is it
No,
just?
it's up to the council. Like, we can change them next week.
Okay. Okay, that was all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry I missed that.
Mayor, if I may, the Board of Adjustments is a new board because the attorney said we can do it separately, and that board will be addressing things such as anything to do with variances. That's what that board will see. And then P&Z does whatever they normally would do. We did put in the paper and online as well as on Facebook and invited anybody who was already serving, anybody else who wanted to serve to put an application, and that's how we were able to do that. And yeah, I believe we have those in there.
I added it to the online application.
We did.
I've got the motion and the second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 5-0, thank you. Moving on to item 4C, consideration action to appoint members to the Planning and Zoning Commission to include any reappointment of current members, appointment to fill vacancies, and/or replace existing members. Councilwoman Cantu.
Yes, I would have, Philip Vipon, Teddy Hardy, Randy Pruitt, Roy Patrick, and Johnny Dickinson.
And
John.
John.
Oh,
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Cantu, a second by Councilman Jimenez. And before we go forward, any citizens' comments pertaining to these? My comment is that I really do appreciate so many people putting in their applications for these boards. Volunteering your time and effort and energy is not a very easy thing, and I appreciate anyone who puts in their application. Okay, I have a motion on the floor, I have a second.
It was 5 people, right? It was Philip Vipon, Teddy Hartley,
And
Roy Ira, Randy Pruitt, and John Dickerson. Okay.
Okay, all those in favor, please
There's
raise
a
your
gentleman over there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a question, maybe a comment on it, if I may, please.
Rick Gonzalez, Floresville. I'm not understanding what the function of the Board of Adjustments is. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Historically, the city of Floresville did everything under one board. They did everything under P&Z, anything to do with variances and things such as that. But because we are a home rule city, we have to have the two. And in your packet, there was an opinion from the Attorney General reference to do that. So we established this board, and so anything to do with the variance will go to this board, and then anybody who wants to appeal to this board, this is just, an attorney, has to appeal to the circuit court. It would not come to the council to approve. So you no longer will be approving variances. It will go to the Board of Adjustments, and if somebody wants to appeal, then it goes from there to the circuit court. It does not come to the city council. Because you're not supposed to be approving variances to ordinances or variances zoning.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Thomas?
I think so. Let me just pursue that a little bit more. So you're saying the difference is that adjustments will only treat a particular type of action, not treated by the other board? Okay, because I was understanding the adjustment board would look at appeals or whatever from the other board, and that's not so. Okay, thank you.
But they do go to planning and zoning for the variance, and then they go to the Board of Adjustments. Makes sense? 'Cause
first step, planning and zoning, next to the board of adjustments, and the council never gets to see them anymore.
anything to do with variances.
Variances.
So P and Z get to see them all, you get to see the one that have nothing to do with that. That's a quarter of state Texas, not city manager or the attorney's opinion. It's actually.
So the
opinion.
final approval is for the adjustments, Board of Adjustments?
For variances, yes, sir. And if they want to appeal it, they have to go to the circuit court. They can't appeal it to you.
I think Mr. Gonzalez has another comment.
I do have one concern here.
It seems to me that the majority of the people that are going to be on the adjustment board are also on the other board. So it seems a little bit redundant to have these people make a decision here and then be resolved by the next board, same people in essence.
When I asked the city attorney that question, she said typically the boards are the same because it's the same issue. Some of the P and Z, as you'd be familiar with, our comprehensive plan, we plan the highest and best uses of our properties. And so a lot of times you have the same people sit on the same board. And so they get to have, so in essence, for the people, they get to say the first time around, if they make it to the second level, they get to appeal them even further to say, we had all opportunity to explain to the same people who are familiar with our laws and ordinances in reference to that. That's why they recommend that they be the same. And I believe that was in your packet. It doesn't have to be, but typically it is.
Thank you. Any
When-
citizens?
Yes, when you say it doesn't have to be, that's saying that we don't have to have the board, or we have to have?
You
Is it-
have to
is it
have the
state
board.
law? Is it a regulation that we have to
Yes,
abide by?
that you have to have the Board of Adjustments, but they don't have to be the same people, even though typically they are. They could be,
Okay, so
Different
Board of
group.
Adjustments and planning and zoning would not be,
they work hand in hand, but they
But they're
don't
not the
have
same.
to be the same people, but they can be. It is your choice.
Any other citizens' comments? Okay, I have a motion on the floor.
I didn't get a second. I don't think anybody
I
seconded.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 5-0, thank you. Moving on to item 4B, consideration and action to approve ordinance 2018-001, budget amendment number 2.
There is none in your packet, and I apologize. This has to do with the request that the police department brought forth to you last week. We were unable to prepare all the documents that we needed for that, so I would request